My name is John Passfield, and the title of this reading will be Ella Montgomery Video 20, Anthems Part 2. So here is my novel, Ella Montgomery, I Gave You Life, a novel by John Passfield, a photograph of the historical author Ella Montgomery at about 1938. In 1938, with another World War looming and her own personal problems threatening to overwhelm her, acclaimed Canadian author Ella Montgomery begins to write what she has decided will be her final Anne novel, the final novel in which Anne will be a character. As she works on the new book, she recalls the days when Anne of Green Gables became a worldwide literary phenomenon and the dilemma that she faced at that time, whether to write a series of novels in which Anne would perpetually remain the child the world had come to know and love, or to allow Anne to grow to adulthood with all the agonizing torments of the one who had given her life, Ella Montgomery. So, 3 novels here to think about. In this one, my novel, Ella Montgomery, I Gave You Life, Ella Montgomery is a character. She sits down to write in chapter 1, works through it all the way through the novel, and finishes it in chapter 16. She sits down to write her new novel, Anne of Ingleside, in which Anne will be a character she believes for the last time. She's determined not to employ Anne as a character again. While working on this through the 16 chapters of thought in my novel, she recalls the days when Anne of Green Gables, her first novel with Anne as a character, not only was written but was published and became a worldwide phenomenon, and that gave her, through her publisher's request, the opportunity to decide whether Anne should remain as a child through what became 8 novels, or should become an adult through the later became the 8 novels. Okay? So, an anthem is a short poem, usually not based on the topic of the life experience of the main character of a novel or novella, though occasionally that is the case. The poem is embedded in the text of the novel or novella. In terms of the character, the poem is like a dream or a nightmare, in that the imagery of the poem is a response at a subconscious level of the mind to the situations or the events of the life experience of the main character of the story. There are 12 anthems in the text of this novel. I will read 4, the 4 that are embedded in chapters 6 to 10 of the thoughts of the main character. So 16 chapters of thought. And these anthems are embedded in those thoughts, almost as searchlights, flashlights, that light up the events of her life and say something, suggest something about the meaning of those events. Let's go to page 42, first of all. There we are. Anthems, verses of poems. The more you polish this diamond, the more it will shine, said the one housemaid to the other. Then we go to page 50 for the second verse of this anthem. So, polish it, she did. Then page 58. The more she polished the diamond, the more it shone. 58 goes to 66. Here it is. The more she polished the diamond, the brighter the diamond shone, but the diamond got smaller each time she polished it. From 66 we go to 74. And one day, when she went to polish the diamond, there was nothing left of the diamond but the shine. So you have something precious, you treat it in a certain way, what do you have left at the end of that experience? That's a comment on the life of Ella Montgomery and her character Anne. We'll leave it at that. Okay, page 44. Page 44. Here we are. Woe the farmer in the field hit the root and broke the plow. 51. Woe the fisherman at sea, tore the net, and lost the catch. 59. Woe the mother at the cradle, kept the faith, and lost the child. 67. See the blacksmith mend the coulter, see the bellows fan the fire. And then 75, the last verse. See the fisherman sew the netting, see the needle pull the thread. Now, that's 5 verses. If there was a 6th verse, what would it be? But the point is, it's not there. You'd have to look more closely. You'd have to buy the book, I guess, in order to do that. Okay, let's go to another one. Page 46. Here we are. I'm having an operation tomorrow. 53. I have a twin growing inside me. 61. She's the same size as me. She takes up almost all the space in my body and my skull. 69. She is about to be removed. And then 78. I wonder what will be left when she is gone. Okay, then another one, page 47, we'll go to. There it is. Another anthem, that is. These are images that are embedded in the thoughts of the main character through 16 chapters of thought that act as candles, flashlights, illuminators of the events and the characters of her life. A violinist and a violin were the toast of the musical world, accolades and a plethora of venues. 54. One day they found themselves in court. Perhaps they'd been together for a little too long. 62, 63. All the music is in me, said the violinist. All she ever does is move the strings. Then 70, 71. All the music is in me, said the violin. All she does is move her fingers on the bow. And then 79, 80. Let me hear you play together, said the judge, and when you've done so, let me hear each of you play on your own. Okay, so 2 entities. I was going to say 2 people, but a violin and a violinist at odds. And the judge says, well, play together first, and then I'll hear you play separately, and then I'll make a judgment. Okay. The poetic novel is based on a number of premises. Now, there are 8 here, and I've numbered them, but they're dashes in the printed version. So, premises of the poetic novel. 1, that we live our lives in the hurly-burly of the present moment. Number 2, that we think consciously on the surface of our minds in practical terms. 3, the practical surface thinking that we do helps us to make the decisions that get us safely, hopefully, through the day. 4, that inherent in the human mind is a desire to understand our situations and the implications of our responses to our situations. 5, that the surface of our minds, our conscious minds, are too busy and too preoccupied to do much of the thinking that would yield potential meaning. 6. That we do most of the thinking that I would call an attempt to understand our lives, our existence within our situations, in our workplaces, our families, our societies, on our earth and in our universe, at the subconscious levels of our minds. So that we do most of the thinking at the subconscious minds that would yield potential meaning. Okay. 7. That the subconscious levels of our minds do not generally think with imagery that's based on the information of our surface lives, but instead with imagery that is drawn from imaginary sources, as is the imagery of a novel or any other piece of fiction, or of a dream or a nightmare. So when you read a novel, you're reading about people, but you're not reading about yourself. You're not reading about the information of your own life. When you have a dream or a nightmare, it might not even have people, but if it does, they're usually not yourself. They might sometimes be, but often not. Okay. Number 8, lastly, that the subconscious thinking that we do in an attempt to find meaning, or at least potential meaning in our lives, sometimes has an effect on our conscious mind and sometimes does not. All that thinking, maybe no benefit. By this last comment, I mean that the process of thinking subconsciously in imagery can sometimes become conscious for us and sometimes can remain subconscious and in turn can sometimes be beneficial for us and can sometimes be detrimental. Sometimes thinking can do harm, but we do it anyway. Okay. So once again, this is my novel, Ellen Montgomery, I Gave You Life. You can find it on Amazon if you want more information. You can find it at Rocks Mills Press, which is my publisher's website, rocksmillspress.com, for more information. On my website, there are 2 free books, my planning notebook and my reflective journal. Both are about the writing of this book, but about a lot more than this novel, because the novel is about all of life, really, how we live our lives, how we think our way through life. So have a look there at johnpassville.ca if you're interested. Lastly, I'll just say thank you for watching this video.